Howdy, welcome to Caribou Country Lifestyle. My name is Cheryl, and today I am going to be doing a garden tour, watering, kind of fixing things up, tying up some tomato plants, and I'm bringing you along for that. So this weekend, here where I live, is not the world's, Canada's second largest rodeo in our area. And the first is Calgary, Alberta, and we are the second. So this weekend we have lots of activities going on, lots of rodeo activities. There's the parade, there's lots of, you can go down to the beer gardens where they have country dancing as well. There's chuck wagon races, there's just all kinds of little britches events, just the little guys doing steer, or not, the little guys don't do so much the steer wrestling, but they do where they will chase the sheep and rope them. I'm not exactly sure all of the events that the little guys do, but it's a lot of fun. Tomorrow we're actually taking in the parade that we have. It's the 97th annual Stampede Rodeo this weekend. So it's a big deal. And yeah, hence my cowboy hat. So today it's cowboy hat slash hat on my head because it's sunny out. We're out here in the morning before it gets a lot hotter, because it's gonna get hotter. And so let's start checking things out. Start this tour. Okay, so over here on this side, I'm starting with my tomatoes. I have a couple of Tabasco peppers here, and over the years I haven't really had a lot of success with the Tabasco peppers. I've gotten the plants and they've grown really good, but I've never had any flowers develop on them, so hence I never got any Tabasco peppers neither. Beside the Tabasco peppers, these two tomatoes are my natural black cherry tomatoes. Already have flowers going on this. I tied them up a little bit here at the base, a little closer to the base, but I'm going to put another section of my stretchy tape. And I get this stretchy tape, I got it on Amazon. You can get 3 rolls in a pack. I mean, that's what I got. So I'm going to tie this up. I'm just going to put this leaf through here so I can get this plant a little closer. I'm also going to be looking for little suckers in the pockets of my tomatoes as I'm going along, and I'm going to tie this so that this section is closer to the panel and it'll give it the support that it needs. So I'm just going to loop this around the back of the panel and then tie this here. I'm just going to bring this down a little closer so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to tie this up. I still have it loose enough that it can move around and it can still keep growing upwards. I'm going to do the same for this natural black cherry as well. Past the natural black cherry, I have another tomato plant, and that is my ox heart. And it's almost to the point where I could tie it up as well. So I'm just going to loop it around the back on my panel. And I'm also going to grab my little snippers and I'm going to remove the bottom leaves on this natural black cherry. Okay, just going to remove this bottom leaf on this side and over here. I'm just trying to get, I want at least a foot with no branches on the bottom of my tomato plants. And as they grow, I'm just going to keep removing the bottom lower leaves until I have at least 12 to 18 inches with no leaves on the bottom. And that way they will get a great airflow. And also when I'm watering, the water's not going to be splashing up on the bottom leaves, which can cause to a lot of disease, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to clip the bottom leaves on this ox heart as well. And I just put my leaves that I clip off, I put them into the compost. And yeah, this ox heart's still not ready to have the leaves trimmed out of it. So I'll just put my tape in my pocket, put my snippers in my other pocket, and then I'm going to start watering. This way I can water along the bottom of the tomato plant. And like I say, it's not splashing up dirt or anything on the bottom leaves. And the water can just focus on the roots of the tomato plant. In between the tomato plants, I have planted some parsley as well. It's nice to be able to find some plants that you can plant in between your tomatoes. And herbs are always a good choice to plant in between your tomatoes. You could do parsley, you could do basil, dill as well. I'm just going to give these Tabasco peppers some water too. And then over on this end, I have my sweet gypsy peppers. And I'm just going to water them also. So every morning, especially with it being so dry and hot like it has been, I'll come out here and water and clean. I've got, I just want to show you here, I've got a couple of flowers here on my gypsy peppers. So right down here, if I lift up that leaf there I have a flower on my gypsy peppers. This one has the buds, but there hasn't anything that has flowered on it as of yet. Over on this side, on the back of my natural black cherry tomatoes, I have Swiss chard over here, and it's growing really well. I can actually start taking some of the leaves off of here, and what I'll do is I'll chop it up and saute it. And you can have it in scrambled eggs or add it into a lasagna. You could put it into a soup, anything like that. And in behind this Swiss chard, this is my Bloomsdale spinach. I've had a couple of parts of it that have gone to seed, but I planted this one 2 months ago. So we're at the end of June right now. And this is my end of June garden tour. In front of the spinach, I have 3 kinds of radishes. This first little section is my cherry bell radishes. And next to it, in the middle section, this is the French breakfast radishes. And then in the very front here, this is my sparkler white tip radish, and this is my second planting of these radishes. I actually didn't do the cherry bell the last time. I added it in this time. So I'm just gonna water in amongst these Swiss chard, and then we'll move on to the next bed. Okay, I decided to change my mind. I watered first, and so I could just focus on doing the tour. So here in this bed, in the very front, those are my Goldfinger carrots, and then in behind them is my kohlrabi, and there are some really nice kohlrabi. If you look under here, I've got a good one that's starting to form, and I noticed another one right in here too, another good one starting to form. So I can't wait until those get a little bit bigger, and then I can start picking them and being able to eat them. Now on this side, this is my Little Crunch snap peas, and they have flowers on them. Right in here you'll see there I have some snap peas growing. There's one right there, and that's mine. I love snap peas. Very tasty. So again, I'm going to try and get in here and show you. So in behind my kohlrabi, I put in some pole beans, and they are starting to make their way up this panel. Now if I move some of these leaves, you should be able to see them in behind here. And they're going to climb up my panel, because these are the pole beans, and they will climb up right alongside my peas. But the peas are only going to be producing peas for until probably the end of July, maybe the end of August. But these beans won't start producing until probably the end of August. So that'll work out perfect. And if I come over here, here are my other snap peas in behind. They're just starting to climb up the panel. Their little trendles are clutching onto the panel and starting to figure out where to go. In front of that is my countryside spinach. Now, I've been picking quite a bit, but it just keeps producing. So I'm going to be out here picking some more of that. Behind that is the red kitten spinach. Again, been picking lots off of that. In behind there, I got a couple of zucchinis growing. I ended up putting in some more zucchini seeds because I only had one zucchini plant that had decided to come out, sprout out. Then here I have my zinnias. Got one of my asparagus is got a little fern coming in there. That's my new asparagus. In that little pot in behind, that's my osteospermum, and that's the shades of lavender. And then I have sunflowers. This is my nice little shady spot in here. So there is my dill that I started from seed, and it's starting to grow. And then beside that, that is my cilantro that I started from seed as well, and so that's starting to grow as well, so that's exciting. There I have another osteospermum, and I noticed when I was watering, I'm just going to switch my hands around, that when I was watering, I have a flower on my mashed potato squash, so that's exciting too. And then in here, this in the front row, these are my Danver half-long carrots. In behind them on the left, these are the baby beets that I have. And if we take a look in here, they are doing quite nicely. I've got a couple of little baby beets growing in there. Behind my baby beets, I have There's my cucumber. This is a pickling cucumber, and it's going to be growing up this panel here. Nice little cool spot, but when the sun comes around, there's another one right there, and I have a third one right there, and that's gonna just go up that panel on this side. Behind these carrots on the right, these are my golden Detroit beets. Don't have very many of those, but I'll get more seed and plant more next year. Coming over to this bed, in the front, this is my dwarf green curled kale. And then I have on this side these two peppers. Those are my cayenne pepper. Beside, coming along here, I have another type of kale, and this is the Lectano kale, the dinosaur kale. And then I have my 3 celery plants, looking very nice and healthy. Got a little nasturtium here in the corner with a zinnia beside it. These tomatoes here, these are the yellow pear tomatoes. And we've got some flowers on them right there. This one I noticed there was some spots, some type of something was going on, so I cleaned up and clipped off some of the leaves that I noticed that there was some spots. Ended up tying up these 2 tomatoes. These are my Aunt Ruby's. I can't remember the rest of it. Oh no, these aren't my Aunt Ruby's, sorry. These are my Amish paste tomatoes, and I clipped the bottom leaves off of it and have tied these up with that stretchy tape as well. Now I've got a little parsley in there. Coming around over on this other side, these 2 tomatoes, these are the Brandywine tomatoes, and I will be taking off some of the bottom leaves off of these as well. I noticed there's a leaf in behind there. It's got a little bit of yellow on the tip. It touches the ground, so I want to remove those leaves. I don't want any leaves touching the ground. Not quite ready to tie these ones up yet, but they are definitely coming along. And then on this side, oh, sorry. On this other side here, this is the Carnival Blend, and that is another variety from the Brandywine family. And that is just a blend of different colors of tomatoes that'll be growing on that one. Now, coming over here, in behind my Hikiri salad turnip, these ones are pretty much finished. I'm going to be picking those out and then planting something else in there. I might actually put in a second crop of the Hikiri salad turnip. I really enjoyed those. But I have some little sprouts, and these are my rutabagas coming in behind. These ones are a little bit bigger. And then I took out those watermelon radishes, and I ended up planting some more Chinese Toi Choy and let those grow in there. Now I'll come over on this other side, and in the front, these are the French fillet beans, and that is a bush bean. And then these peppers on this side, this is my 2 California Wonder, both a sweet pepper. Then I have, now I'm not sure, I just went around plunking in onions, and so these are either onions or they're leeks that I have planted in there. And then on this side, these 2 peppers, these are my Big Bertha. This is a sweet pepper as well. I planted Chinese Toi Choy on this side, and it is almost getting to the size that it's ready to pick. You don't want to let them get too big because they go to seed so quickly. Then over here, just got to wipe my tag to make sure I have the right variety on there. These are the black Krim. Again, these ones aren't quite tall enough to start tying them up. Next to the black Krim, this is my Aunt Ruby's German Green. This one's almost tall enough, getting some flowers on it. And in front of these tomatoes, I have planted some of my onions or leeks as well. Now this full bed over here, I've got bull's blood beets, and then in behind the bull's blood beets, I have the cylinder beets also. And they are just doing amazing. If you like beet greens, now would be the time to pick beet tops. And then my onions that have flowered, and eventually they'll be going to seed. These carrots in the front, these are, I'm trying to think, these are my Scarlet Nantes in the front. These two tomatoes, you can't really see them because of my Scarlet Nantes. These are the New Girl tomatoes, and now I can actually stake this one up because it is tall enough that I can attach it to this panel. And it's a good thing because it's starting to flop over. So I definitely want to get that one tied up. These two in behind these carrots, these are the Indigo Rose, and that's a cherry tomato. They are like a jet black tomato, and when they ripen, if you look on the underside of the tomato, it starts to turn red, and then you know that it's ready. Down in here, this is my Tithonia, the Goldfinger Tithonia, which is the Mexican sunflower. Okay, over here in this bed, those three peppers are my jalapeno peppers. I noticed that there's a few little buds on this very first one here, but they haven't opened up into flowers. Okay, I figured out which eggplants are which. These are the Victoria, not Victoria, Vittoria. But look at this. Isn't that pretty? I like growing eggplant just for the flowers. I like eggplant, but I like growing them for the flowers. So if these are the Vittoria, these are the Black Beauty eggplants on this side. And they have a couple of buds on the left one, but no buds on the right one yet. In this corner here, this is the shishito peppers, and they are doing really well. Lots of bushiness on them. I'm liking that. And if we come over in behind on this side, this is the Cherokee Purple tomatoes. In front of the Cherokee Purple tomatoes, I have planted the Dragon Tongue bush beans. And I had a comment from somebody if I needed to have some type of supports for these, but they're a bush bean and they're an upright variety, so they will be just fine. Over here, two tomatoes over here, these are the Old German tomatoes. Got some flowers on that one. Not that one, not quite yet. They still have some room before they're going to be tied up on these panels here. Okay, going over onto this side. This lettuce here is a gourmet mix. I got these seeds from my sister and they are coming in quite nicely. I can do a cut and come method with this lettuce here, where you just come in and once they get a little bit bigger, I'll probably wait until they're about 4 or 5 inches tall, and then I'll just come along and cut it with a pair of scissors. These cucumbers, I ended up purchasing these. So I have purchased the Market More cucumbers, and I purchased 3 cucumber plants because my cucumbers that I started, my regular slicer cucumbers, I planted them in here and they just didn't even make it. So I ended up replacing them with some Market More cucumbers. And I'm just going to come along over on this side here. So I have planted in this little row here, this is the Butter Crunch lettuce. And then these 2 rows of beets on the left are the Early Wonder beets. And here on the right are the Ruby Queen beets. I love beets, so I am not going to be sad about having this many beets. I've planted more carrots. On the left are the Scarlet Nantes, and on the right are the Atomic Red carrots. Then over here, these tomatoes, these 2 on this side, this is the Chocolate Sprinkle Cherry Tomato. And then this one here, this is the Oxheart tomato. And then I've put some onions in between them. And I even threw in a cute little marigold over there. And in my center bed, these are all my herbs and flowers. And then in these little pockets of the bricks, I've planted nasturtiums, lobelia, alyssum, only in the little ones on the sides. And then inside, this one here, that is the borage, and it's got a bud on it. This borage here actually had a little bloom on it, but I think that bloom has faded. My parsley is doing good. This is the curled parsley, and then I have a flat leaf parsley as well. This is the lemon basil, but I think I'm just going to pluck out this top part. Maybe I'll get my snippers. So I've just grabbed my snippers, and I noticed that there's a bit of growth coming in down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip this top off. And on this one as well. And I'm hoping that this will encourage this to grow out more. And then over here on this lemon basil, I'm just going to pinch this top. And that'll help encourage it to bush out some more. And this one, I'm just going to snip that little piece there. And this is a regular basil here beside it, and I pinched the top of it just so it could get a little bit more bushier also. And then I have here, these are carnations. I have my different types of lilies in here too, and I have some columbines right in front of my Buddha there, and I also have a foxglove in there too. Just kind of have crammed a bunch of different types of flowers in here, and just hoping that this will just get full and just beautiful flowers in this part. Oh, here we have my potatoes. So still the front bags of potatoes, I mean, those potato tops on there are plants are quite small compared to the ones in the back. And those front ones, that is just in garden soil. When you look in the back, and I even have one that's flowering. This is an early variety. It's a Christina. And this one, if I guide it, this one is from the bag in the very back, and that is with the compost. So that's the one that's flowering, is the one with the compost mix. I have another flowering one. And it is over here. This one here, this is a mid to late season, and this is the Yukon Gold. This one here is from the mix of garden soil and compost. There's another one flowering in the back, and that one is from the compost, just straight compost. And that is also the Yukon Gold with the white flowers on that. I don't have any other flowers on any of the other potatoes. I just added garden soil and compost to this middle row of bags. And then the ones in the very back of just straight compost, I need to add more to that as well. I'm just waiting for Jamie to get me some compost. He's going to fill up a couple of buckets, and then I will be able to add more compost into that back row. Okay, this bed here, this is mostly brassicas. These 6 little plants in the very front of this bed. This is my cabbage, and then going in from the cabbage, the next 6 plants, that's my, well, there's not quite 6 plants because I lost 2 out of the 6, and this one right down there, it's not looking very good either. But this is the cheddar cauliflower. Going in from there, this is the Chinese gold cabbage. And then I had one lonely celery plant, so I plugged it in right there. These 2 are my broccoli. And then this squash here, I got this from our Uncle Peter. It's Jamie's Uncle Peter, and he lives on the coast, and he gave us this squash plant. Not exactly sure what it's going to be like. I don't even know the name of it. My Jamie's cousin, she was saying it's a prickly squash and you have to wear leather gloves to peel it. So I'm got some concern there. Anyways, and then at this end, all of these plants here, that is my cabbage as well. I'm just going to go backwards on this bed. This is the sweet potatoes, and I'm going to be coming, this is what I'm going to be watering next. So these are my 19 slips, sweet potato slips that I have planted. And then if you look here, these little plants here, this is watermelon, and then it looks like there's weeds coming up, but this I have plugged in some corn seeds. This is a very old corn. I've had these seeds for over 12 years, and I actually planted them last year and they took, so I thought I'd try it again. My spaghetti squash and my butternut squash down at this end both didn't make it. So I'm going to try and go to one of the greenhouses or nurseries and see if I can get some replacement plants for that as well. What I've done down the sides of this fence is I have planted some morning glories, and these morning glories are called the flying saucer morning glories. I planted these last year and they were really pretty, so I decided to put them along the side of the fence. So I've spaced them out to around a foot apart, and I can't wait until these grasp onto the fence and climb up the fence and start flowering. And then in the front, this is my sweet peas, and this one here is an Old Spice sweet pea, and it's supposed to be quite fragrant. And then I have another sweet pea over here, and then this is a sunflower, and this is the large-headed sunflower, so it's going to grow quite tall, and I've planted it here so that it could climb up the fence, and then I can tie it to the fence, because if it's windy, it could end up falling over and break off. In these pots here, I have an assortment of flowers. There's snapdragons, verbena, some salvia in this one. And then I have almost the same over here, but I also have regular mint, and I also have an apple mint in this pot over here. And down on this side of the fence, I have 2 more large-headed sunflowers, and then I have a couple more sweet peas going down the side. Some of them aren't doing so well. It's been pretty hot here, and I think that has a lot to do with that. I put in these 3 pots here, and I have an assortment of flowers. I have some lobelia, some alyssum, some snapdragons, and then I put in a couple of osteospermum in this one. In this center one, in the middle, that is a plant, another plant that we got from Jamie's Uncle Peter, and this is a fig tree. I'm not sure how it's going to do here. Our zone definitely is different from in Vancouver, but I put it in this pot and we'll see what happens. I've also got more lobelia, alyssum, and I put in a couple more of the osteospermum, and I even have some of the pansies as well. And then in this last bed, again, the same lobelia, snapdragons, pansies, alyssum in that pot there too. Before we go to the back, I just wanted to show you on the front, I have a hanging basket over there and another hanging basket over there. And I've got geraniums and salvia and some dianthus and some petunias. I've got one flowering over here. That one is a phlox. And then I've got these planters down here. Again, I have geraniums, dianthus, lobelia, and then I have petunias, salvia over here, and I have some gazanias also. Oh, look at that little cute little pink flower there. I'm not sure what that is. I can't remember what I put in there. And then in this little section here, this is some herbs. So I have a flat leaf parsley, the curled leaf parsley, some more basil. I've put in some rosemary in here, and then I've put in some snapdragons and some pansies as well. In this front bed, I have quite a variety of plants. I have snapdragons, dahlias, petunias, lobelia, alyssum, and then I've put in some nicotiana. These are my little mini roses I have. I need to actually get a frame for this and prop them up. Moving along, more snapdragons, and then that plant in the back, that is my hollyhocks that have come back that I planted in last year. I've got more lobelia, more alyssum, just quite an assortment. And then we'll go back here down the stairs and we'll be over into the berry side. So this is my jungle of weeds all through here. There are actually plants in here, and I'm hoping that they will do okay with the amount of weeds I have. So here goes on the berry side. This is blueberry, and this one here is the, what does it say? North Country blueberry. These are both a North Country blueberry. I have 2 here. Here's my strawberry beds, and what I've done is I've taken hula hoops and I have cut them down so that I could, my hula hoops are just on the ends of the strawberry beds, and then in between I have wire hoops, and then I just have a netting. And what that's for is so that the birds won't get at my strawberries. I can't stop the worms from getting at them, but I can stop the birds. This is a little elderberry bush. It got whipped off with a weed eater again. And then this is an elderberry bush that hasn't got whipped with the weed eater. So quite a difference in it. I haven't noticed any buds or anything like that on it. Over here is a haskap. I actually have 2 haskap berries. And then on this side, this whole side going down here is all raspberries. And some of these are raspberry canes that I got from my sister. These ones all have berries forming on them. I've been out here watering them. Now that these berries are formed on them, they're going to be ripening anytime. This is my blue plum tree. Here is another haskap. This one got whippersnipped with the weed eater last year, but it has come back, thank goodness. So I have a strawberry bed here, another strawberry bed there, and then a third strawberry bed past that as well. This is all fenced in as well to keep the deer out. And then this tree here, this is my sour cherry tree. And as you can see, it has quite a few sour cherries in the middle. And then again, there's some there, quite a few. And if I come around on this side, we can see more sour cherries in underneath here as well. Have quite a few. The strawberries are doing really good. This year I have decided to cut off the runners and just focus on the plants. And then next year I will let the runners grow. And what I'll do is those runners, I will guide them into these empty spots, and I will start new strawberry plants where there are spots that are missing strawberry plants from. Just this year I want to focus on the plants, and I seem to be getting quite big strawberries by doing that. You can see I have some big strawberries there. I've got another cluster of strawberries there. They just seem to be everywhere. Over here, these aren't as big, but that's quite a cluster of strawberries. Okay, the last part of my tour is on the deck. I decided to put all of my tomato plants on right up against the house, because when I had them out here on the deck, out in the full sun, they just didn't look very healthy. And so far, since I've put them on the deck and have them up against the house, they have been really looking nice. I can, see the difference in how healthy they are. Lots of flowers on it. The plants look nice and healthy and green. So let's take a look at what we have here. So this first one, this is a hanging basket tomato, cherry tomato. And this one here, this is a Terenza. I've never grown this one before. It has red cherry tomatoes on it, and then beside it, that is tumbler yellow, and lots of flowers. This one already has, like I say, already has the cherry tomatoes. That's a Terenzo, so that's awesome. This is my cherry Roma, and I have it in a hanging basket, which I don't know, it's an indeterminate, so I don't know what's going to end up happening with this. It might be a bit of a gong show. We'll have to wait and see. It as well has flowers on it. In behind that is my Manitoba. I'm just going to, got a bit of a spider web happening there. And then beside that one is another Manitoba. Over here, this one here is a celebrity. Most of these in the pots are bush tomatoes. This one here is another hanging basket. We have the Torenzo on this side, and it has the tomatoes already forming on that, and then the tumbler yellow in beside it. In behind that hanging basket is my Lemon Boy, and it has flowers developing on the top there. I came through here and I pinched out all the suckers on these, pruned a couple of the bottom leaves. I didn't want any leaves touching the ground of the plant. This is another celebrity. And then this beside that, that is a Sweetie Cherry. And I thought I had some bamboo stakes that I was going to be using to stake these up and be able to tie them to the stakes. And I don't have any, but I do have lots of broomsticks that I have used in the past in previous years of gardening, and I may end up using those again. Another Sweetie Cherry, lots of flowers forming on these. And then this pot in the back, it's a black pot, that is another Lemon Boy. This is in this basket here, it's a hanging basket. This is another Cherry Roma with flowers on the top. And then in behind there, that is the San Marzano in that clay pot. And then this is a San Marzano in this clay pot as well. That little pot in the back, that just has flowers. I have gazanias, snapdragons, and some alyssum. And then that pot there, again, we have snapdragons and alyssum. Over here, I had a hanging basket given to me. It was my birthday this last week. So I had this given to me from a friend. Very beautiful. These two pots, they have the osteospermum in them, some alyssum, and some snapdragons, both pots. And then these three pots, we have geraniums, dianthus, snapdragons, there's some balsam, got some petunias, and I also threw in a little bit of alyssum in there also. And I think that's little white flowers, that's alyssum as well. But we have some more petunias. I have a little salvia in there. Those are looking pretty good. They need to bush out some more. This is a red geranium, and then I've put in some pansies and some snapdragons in there. This one, that geranium has some buds on it, so it's going to be opening up pretty soon. And then this is my Meyer lemon plant. It wasn't looking very good, but I noticed right down here there are some shoots coming up, and at the very bottom I ended up giving it like a 20-20-20 fertilizer because it's supposed to be good for citrus plants, so I gave that a shot of that kind of a fertilizer. And then I have one more planter here. Has a geranium, snapdragons, alyssum, some gazania. Kind of probably put too many plants in that one there, but oh well. So I picked some of my strawberries, and I just want to show you. Look at these strawberries. Like, that is, I have quite a few of them. They are quite big. I actually had one that was no good. The worms got to it, and ate a hole in the bottom of it, but these are really nice size, and they're just starting. So I've got 7. I would have had 8 if I wouldn't have had that one that the worms had gotten into it, and it's no good now, so I'm not going to eat that. I'll just throw it in my compost. It takes me probably a good hour and a half to water all of the garden side, my flowers. Then down below we have all the brassicas and my sweet potatoes as well. And then I still have this side, and I have raspberries and elderberries. I have haskaps, strawberries. I have a sour cherry tree over here, and I have a blue plum, but the blue plum doesn't have anything on it, didn't flower or anything like that, but I still have to keep watering it. So I'm going to continue watering, and then I'm done for the day. So I just wanted to take you along on the little tour, end of June tour. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, throw a like in there, and if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. So happy Canada Day for tomorrow. It will be July the 1st, and hope you enjoyed. Have a great weekend. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.